Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jay and I'm your host. I was invited. Just if you can see just behind me, that's a farm. That's a poultry farm. And I would like to introduce you to the person who manages it. Poultry farming is very profitable, but it comes with its own share of risk. I'm with an expert who is going to introduce himself and is going to tell us more about poultry farming.
Hello guys and welcome to J Media. My name is Mayuba Brian, popularly known as the Actuary Farmer. I usually run and I usually do a business in the poultry farming sector. What I usually do, I usually keep chicken for the purposes of breeding. So what I usually run is known as a breeder farm, whereby I'm able to keep chicken so as they can be able to give me eggs, then I can be able to hatch the eggs and give me chicks.
Maybe it doesn't have to, but maybe you can tell us more about his academic journey, and so that you can know whether it relates to what he's doing right now.
Okay. What I really studied back in campus, I never studied agriculture, but I really had a huge passion in agriculture. What I studied in campus is known as Actuarial Science. I did Actuarial Science, BSc Actuarial Science from the University of Nairobi, Chiromo campus. That is whereby I did my degree, but I really had a lot of passion in the poultry sector, and that's why I even started poultry farming while I was still back doing my degree. Yeah, so after I finished the degree, I just continued with what I was doing because I loved doing poultry farming. Because when you are starting these things out, you may want to do actuarial, but when you reach at the middle, you find out that you had another passion in another field. So that's what I had. I had a passion in poultry farming, and that's why I decided to start poultry farming business.
At what point did it mark like a turning point that you said, I want to see how poultry farming or where poultry farming can lead to?
Okay, since I had the passion in the poultry farming sector, I started by brooding chicks, whereby I bought chicks from Uganda, as I said in most of my videos. I bought chicks from Uganda. Then I was able to brood those chicks for 1 month or for until they reached 1 month of age. Then I was able to sell them. And I realized it had some good margins in it. Since I was just looking for pocket money also out of the venture, I found out that it had huge margins, and you have to invest a little money, then you get huge profits. So I realized that if I'm doing this kind of a business, since I want to become a billionaire, so I decided that I have to do a business that I can be able to multiply it so very fast. I never wanted to go into employment field because I saw when you are going into employment field, it's so hard for you to become a billionaire. You can only become a millionaire. But even if it's so hard for you to become a centimillionaire is a person who has a net worth of 100 million and above. So I saw it that it will be so hard for me, and I really wanted to have financial freedom when I reach my 35 and above years of age. So that's why I decided to start a poultry farming business, and only in the breeding sector. Yes.
So at this point, maybe you came and maybe you told your friends, family, players, or anyone around you about poultry farming. Then with the background in the Actuarial Science, how do they perceive you? Like, how did they perceive that information, like changing from numbers to chicken?
Yes, first of all, my parents never wanted it. They wanted me to get the white-collar job. But your heart goes where it wants. My heart wanted for me to become a farmer because I have a bigger vision in the farming sector. I never wanted to go into the employment because it won't make me expand my wings the way I want it. I wanted to be able to expand my wings wider. I wanted to be able to get to more people and be able to also make a lot of money out of the venture. Because when I am employed, I know I will be limited. I won't be able to make amount of money that I really want in the long run. Yes.
Okay. Maybe this is more about the theory. Maybe you need to take us through the poultry farm and tell us more about the kind of chicken that he is rearing and the farming system that he uses, and if there is any software that he uses or technology. So let's go through the practical as he tells us more about it.
Okay. So the kind of chicken that I usually rear on my poultry farm, as you can see it, these birds are known as saso. Okay? These birds are known as saso, as you can see them. And these birds, we are rearing them for the purposes of breeding, whereby we are rearing these birds so as they can be able to give us fertilized eggs, so as we can be able to produce day-old chicks. So in any kind of business that I'm doing currently, we usually use technology, but the only technological part that we are using is that we are using the incubators for the purposes of incubation and hatching of the eggs. That is the technological part whereby we are using on our poultry farm. Yes.
Maybe the other question maybe I need to ask is, what does it look like a day for a farmer, a poultry farmer like you?
Okay. For example, like for this breeder chicken, if you really want them to lay very many eggs and for them to lay at a very early stage during the day, for example, like this chicken currently is around 10. This is the time that we usually collect our first eggs. But you realize that at around 10, you find out that around 70% of the chicken have laid. So what we usually do, we usually wake up at around 5:30 in the morning. When you wake up 5:30 in the morning, you have to make sure that you are feeding your birds. How do we usually feed our birds? First, it is usually dark in there. So we have to make sure that we are putting the feeds into the feeders first before we put on the lights. Yes, so if you do that, then you'll find out that not some chicken will come out and try to bully other chicken. So they will get evenly distributed on the feeders. So that's what we do very early in the morning. That is after we have fed them, then we usually come to collect the eggs at around 10. That's the first lot.
10 a.m.
Yes, 10 a.m. Then after 1 hour, at 11, we also collect the second lot. Then at 1, we collect the third lot. Then at 4, we collect the fourth lot. So that is how you should be able to collect the eggs for incubation. Then we are able to store our eggs at below 25 degrees Celsius so as we prevent the development of the embryo. Because if you are putting the hatching eggs and yet you want to store them in a room whereby it has reached a temperature of around 28 degrees Celsius, you end up finding out that the eggs start developing, and that will be a disadvantage to you as a farmer. Yes. So that's how usually day of a farmer, and usually like during the evening at around 5 to 6, there is whereby you usually close the poultry house. Then we have to wait for the following day. Yes.
Now the next thing is about ensuring. Sorry about the choir. Just here, I think there's a choir master somewhere here. He's the one reading the whole choir. So
yes.
The next thing is about maintaining the feeding and health, like
Yes.
making sure that they are healthy and they are well fed, like the types of food and how regularly you do.
So like for us on our poultry farm, the most thing that we usually take in of, for example, if it is for the feeds, you have to make sure that you are formulating your own feeds. I usually insist on the formulation of your own feeds because one, you'll be sure of the quality of the feeds that you are giving to your chicken, and secondly, you'll also be sure that you are, since you have a better quality for feeds on your chicken, that you're giving to your poultry, you'll be able to have a better and high production, and that relates to money. Yes. And on the sector of the biosecurity measures on our poultry farm, first of all, we have to have a farm attire. You can see I have gumboots on, and we have a disinfectant at the door. Let me show you. So like at the door, we usually have a foot bath whereby everybody who enters the poultry house has to be able to disinfect their feet on that foot bath. That's how you'll be able to control diseases on a poultry farm. Yes.
Okay, so back to the same question that we had before, but in a different angle.
Yes.
Now, with Actuarial Science,
Yes.
do you find it useful in any way when it comes to poultry and something like that? Because Actuarial Science is very analytical.
Yes.
So, do you think it has a role in this?
Okay. The best part of me learning Actuarial Science is that it has enabled me to be able to manage risk on my poultry farm. I've been able to use the knowledge that I gained in the actuarial class to be able to manage risk and be able to forecast how I'll be able to scale my business regarding the risk that can occur in the long run. So I can be able to evade the risk and be able to control the risk in case it may try to attack my poultry farm. So I usually try to put all those analytics that I learned in school into my poultry farming business so as I can also enable my poultry farm to enable me grow. Remember, as I told you, I want to become a billionaire from poultry farming, so as it makes sense to most of you. Yes.
And just like in any venture, it comes with share of risks. What are some of the challenges that you faced as a farmer?
So when I was starting poultry farming, the biggest problem that I faced was the diseases. I never had enough knowledge. You know, they always say that knowledge is power. I never had enough knowledge in the poultry sector, so I was viciously attacked by diseases on my poultry farm. Even there's reached a time whereby I had reared like 500 birds and they had reached around 4 months of age. I lost all the birds to a deadly disease known as the Newcastle disease. So I never knew that you really need to vaccinate your birds all the time to be able to follow the vaccination schedule, so as you can be able to prevent such diseases from attacking your poultry farm. So that was my biggest problem. So from that time henceforth, I was able to continue learning through experience over the years, but through learning and getting some losses, I was able to perfect in the art.
So maybe the next question maybe I need to ask is, how do you ensure that you have like proper marketing, sale and maybe distribution of your product to make it more like efficient in any way?
Okay, in any kind of business, the most essential thing is distribution. Even when you look at these big companies like Amazon, Alibaba, those companies are not like online entities. They are distribution companies, but they are just framed in a way whereby you can see them as online platforms whereby they usually sell the products. So on the marketing, I usually do a lot of social media marketing, whereby I also have a huge presence on social media. That's what enables me to get bigger market. And also something else that enables me to get the market of my products is that I am able to get a lot of referrals from the customers, because I have this very good customer service, whereby I usually give my customers what they want, and I usually also help them to be able to grow their venture. So they usually have a lot of referrals that I usually get from my clients. That is how I'm able to grow on my market. Yes.
Okay, for the social media platforms, we're going to link them below. Maybe the only thing maybe I need to get to see whether it's relevant is, have you noticed any like maybe trend when it comes to poultry farming that you see like maybe it was not practiced before, but nowadays you have to practice in order maybe to make more sales or to make it like more profitable than it was before? Something like that, maybe competition, something like that.
Okay, the biggest trend is that I realize that most farmers really fear to make their own poultry feeds. That is the biggest thing that I realized. But as time goes by, I have found out that most people have started embracing making of their feeds. Because, you know, when you make your feed, of your poultry feed, as I have said, you are sure of the quality, and also this means that it will enable you and your birds to be able to increase the production. For example, if you are buying the feeds from the company, and yet you are not, you are saying maybe you are buying a bag of 50 kg at 32.50, and yet these birds are giving you like 70% production. Then you go and formulate your own feeds at a price which is lower than that of the factory, which is around 3,000 Kenyan shillings. Then you end up finding out that it's giving you 80% production, meaning you will be able to lower the cost of production and increase the productivity of your bird. So that is the new trend that I found out that most farmers have started embracing slowly by slowly. And if you are a farmer in the poultry sector and you are able to embrace that, then you'll be able to get a lot of money out of the venture. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for answering that question.
Yes.
Very well. So the next question is like not mostly like a statement, but a question, but a statement. Like many young people are, especially the young professionals, are shying away from agriculture and something related to agriculture. What are some of the advices that you tell them, or what would you like to tell them? Maybe when it comes to like agriculture, maybe something that is misunderstood.
The first thing that you Africans must know, or the young people in Africa must know, is that most billionaires in Africa, dollar millionaires, we have Bagrisa of Tanzania, we have also Mo Dewji of Tanzania, we have Aliko Dangote of Nigeria. Most of those dollar billionaires, they started trading in the food sector, because the biggest problem here in Africa is not the technological part of it. The biggest problem here in Africa is food. So you have to be able to engage in agriculture, so as you can solve that problem of food here in Africa, then it can enable you to make a lot of money here in Africa. Because the biggest problem here in Africa is food. And if you want to become a billionaire, you have to be able to solve a problem that can enable you to save lives, or to be able to impact lives of over 1 million people. So if you're able to do that, then you'll be able to become easily a billionaire. And I found out that the biggest problem here in Africa is food. And that's why I will continue engaging in the agricultural sector, and I want to urge most of my youth and my young Africans to engage in agriculture, because that is the biggest problem that is facing Africa currently. Yes.
Someone is beginning, or someone is starting, or is thinking of beginning or starting like a poultry farm. What advice would you maybe tell them? Where do they start? Do they start by buying the chicken first, or do they start by making the constructing the shelter, or buying the food? Where do they start?
Okay. For those farmers that want to start any poultry farming business, they only have to have one thing in common. They only have to have a vision. So if you have a vision, you have to start with whatever you have at the moment. Me, I started with birds in a cupboard, in a box, in a carton box, before I was able to construct a poultry house. So what you need, you just need the drive and the passion in the business. If you have all that, then it will enable you to be able to grow in the business and make you become what you want. So you have to start with what you have. You only need to have a vision and the drive in the poultry sector. If you're able to do that, then everything will just follow suit. And another thing that is so important is that if you are rearing any kind of birds, you have to make sure that you really have understood the market whereby you want to sell your products. Because if you are living in an urban area, you can decide to rear the broilers, whereby it will enable you to be able to sell the birds at a faster rate. Unlike here in the village, whereby if you decide to rear the broilers, you'll find out that very few people like the taste of the broiler meat. So it will be a hindrance to you. So you have to make sure that you are gauging the area whereby you want to set the birds and the type of the breed that you want to set in that area.
And just like any other business,
yes.
I'm 100% sure, based on the words that you said, you would like to see your poultry farm grow to a bigger empire.
Yes.
What is your goal, or what do you see your farm in the next 5 years, something like that?
Okay. My vision in the next 5 years is that I want to improve my poultry farm. Currently, I'm only hatching 4,000 chicks per week, but I want to be able to improve that, whereby I want to be able to reach, whereby I hatch a minimum of 30,000 chicks per week, but I want to be able to reach a level whereby I can hatch 50,000 chicks per week in the next 5 years. After that, in the next maybe 10 years, I want to be able to reach whereby I can hatch 100,000 chicks per year. We know in any kind of an economy, the most important thing is the population of that economy, so as it can enable you to sell your products to that population. But we are not only targeting the Kenyan population. We want to be able to export our products outside the country, East Africa as a whole. I've been able to export most of my products in Uganda, so I want to be able also to penetrate Tanzania. Yes, and be able to grow my market so wide. So there are so very good treaties in East Africa, so we can enable us to do business more. So it's not only about where you are. You don't have just to think like if I'm in this country where am I currently, which is Bungoma, I don't have only to think where I have to sell my products in Bungoma. You have to have a wider vision so as you can enable you to grow more. And that's why I've said in the next 5 years, I want a minimum of 30,000 chicks to 50,000. And from there, in the next 10 years, I want to be able to hatch 100,000 chicks per week. Yes.
And just like we've said before, like any business needs to grow, and someone might want to reach you.
Yes.
How do they reach you, especially when it comes to social media platform, which is one of the biggest platform that we have right now? How do potential customers reach you?
Okay, the potential customers that can reach me, so as I can enable them to get these high quality day-old chicks of the Sasso F1 chicks, you can reach me through the handles, the Twitter handles, the Actuary Farmer, YouTube handle, the Actuary Farmer, TikTok, the Actuary Farmer, and also on IG, Instagram, the Actuary Farmer. If you contact me through those entities, you'll be able to reach me. And my phone number, business phone number, is +254 706 54 37 60. I can repeat, my number is +254 706 54 37 60. Yes, that's how you can be able to reach me, so as I can be able to sell to you high quality products, and also I can be able to guide you on how you can be able to start and grow your business so as it can become sustainable and profitable. You have to become sustainable so as it can be profitable in the long run. You just don't have to make money in the first year, then you're out of business within the first year.
that's how you can reach Brian. It's called Brian. It's given you the location, it's given you the social media platforms. You might want to reach him through those numbers. Just in case you miss them, I will link them in the YouTube description below. And sorry, we are running out of time. That's why we are trying to hurry up. But I think he has given us some of the reasons that maybe you might want to reach him. But I'll give him one more chance maybe to tell you why you need to reach him. Because there are so many others maybe out there. But why you need to reach him as we close?
Because as I have said, I'll be able to guide you. So as you start something that is profitable and sustainable. So if you really want to know the tips and the tricks in the poultry farming sector, I'll be able to guide you. And I have said, the biggest problem here in Africa is food. So you have to, more of us should get into the food industry, the agribusiness industry. So as we can be able to generate more food for the growing population here in Africa, then we can also make some money and become, as I've said, not only millionaires, but billionaires in the agribusiness sector. There are so many Chinese who are billionaires in the agribusiness sector. So we also have to have, even here in Africa, I've mentioned a few, and there are many multimillionaires and centimillionaires in the agribusiness sector. So make sure you guys contact me so as I can enable you to be profitable in the poultry farming business. Because remember, 5 years ago, I started with only 50 birds. But currently, I have over 1,200 birds, and I'm able to hatch over 4,000 chicks every week. So, what is holding you back? Contact me and I'll be able to guide you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian, for allowing to host us.
Yes,
to host us in your house
Yes.
and showcase your beautiful poultry farm.
Yes.
And for guys that would like to contact him, kindly I advise you to contact him through the social media platforms. Actually, he normally shares all the information about poultry farming. You know, most of the poultry farmers I've been looking through, most of the poultry farmers, they just vlog about what they do, but they don't teach. But he teaches from hatchery to egg laying to food to health, everything about poultry farming. So you might want to reach him, his YouTube channel, TikTok, and everything that he has. He has a very, very huge farm, which I'm going just to showcase some cross section, not the whole of it because it's quite big. But I'm hoping that you will be able to come and maybe visit and see it for yourself. I'm going to link his social media platforms, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. If you have a question, comment below and you'll be answered. Until next time, guys. Peace and love.